At 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, Bethany Kensington Wright cut a chain. A simple act, a mistake, but not hers. She didn't know the Jeep behind that chain was federal property. She didn't know the soldier it belonged to was halfway across the world, tracking cartel shipments through the Sonoran Desert. And she certainly didn't know his sister was recording everything from her kitchen window. But I did. My name is Marcus Tank Rodriguez, Army Reserve Military Police, Federal Drug Task Force Liaison, grandson of Rosa Rodriguez, who built her house in Willowbrook Estates in 1987 with a 10-0 loan and a prayer. And for 3 months, I thought inheriting that house would be peace. Instead, it became war. Willowbrook wasn't always like this. When Grandma Rose moved in, it was a neighborhood of teachers, veterans, and families who mowed each other's lawns. Now, it's a beige prison of surveillance and silence. HOA dues, $150 a month. Translation: pay us to enforce rules we made up. Bethany Kensington Wright, HOA president, real estate agent, and self-appointed moral arbiter, ruled with a clipboard and a smirk. Her husband, Carl, sat on city council. Together, they turned a homeowners association into a private fiefdom. I deployed 2 weeks after moving in. My orders were clear. My Jeep? A government-issued Wrangler with federal decals, encrypted radios, and 347-0 in surveillance gear tied to active cartel investigations. To Bethany, it was an eyesore. She sent the first violation notice on day 12 of my deployment. Unauthorized commercial vehicle, 50 daily fine. My sister, Maya, tried to reason with her. Sweet, soft-spoken Maya, who taught 8th grade history and believed in second chances. She showed Bethany my military ID, my deployment orders, even offered to cover the Jeep with a tarp. Rules are rules, Bethany said, not looking up from her phone. If your brother can't follow them, maybe this neighborhood isn't for your family. Then she added, quietly, and maybe the school district should hear about the kind of risks you're bringing into our community. Maya called me that night. I was in a bunker in Juarez, dust in my mouth, static on the line. I heard her voice crack. She said Carl knows people, that supporting me could cost me my job. That's when I realized this wasn't about a Jeep. It was about fear, about pushing out anyone who didn't fit her vision of perfect. And Maya found the pattern. The Johnson's Marine Corps family cited for excessive noise from a motorcycle. Sarah Martinez, Navy wife, fined for unprofessional garden gnomes. The Washington's black family with a baby reported for disturbing the peace at 2 a.m. because the baby cried. And Grandma Rose, in her final months, hospice-bound, she got violation notices for overgrown shrubs and inadequate exterior lighting. The nurse told Maya she'd cry every time one came, kept asking if we'd lose the house. Maya found the original 1,987 bylaws in a shoebox under Grandma's bed, buried in Section 4.2. Emergency services, military, and law enforcement vehicles exempt from parking restrictions. Bethany had rewritten the rules. No vote, no meeting, just power. And she wasn't alone. Carl's development company, Kensington Urban Holdings, had signed a deal with Eastbrook Development 6 months before Grandma died. Their plan? Buy up 47 homes in Willowbrook, build luxury condos, marketed as exclusive, stable, low turnover. Military families? Transient. Elderly owners? Non-compliant. Anyone who resisted? Targeted. They weren't just breaking rules. They were erasing lives. I couldn't fight back from 8-0 miles away. But I wasn't defenseless. I called JAG. Staff Sergeant Patricia Williams listened to Maya's recordings, read the bylaws, and said 2 words. Federal violation. The Service Member Civil Relief Act, SCRA, protects deployed service members from predatory actions. Threatening to tow a federally owned vehicle? That's not a violation. That's theft of government property. Williams filed a complaint. Base Command activated a military liaison. Suddenly, Bethany's little empire had federal eyes on it. But she didn't back down. She hired ExecSafe Security, 2 ex-cops in a white SUV, to monitor compliance. They circled my Jeep every hour, photographed it, told neighbors it was a security risk. One even confronted Maya at the grocery store. "Ma'am, we need to know what kind of operations your brother is running from that house." Classic intimidation. Military stigma, wrapped in community safety. But Maya was ready. She recorded it all. And I activated the Jeep Security Suite, standard for task force vehicles. GPS tracking, infrared motion sensors, cameras that trigger within 15 feet. The footage was damning. At 1:43 a.m., Bethany was on my property again, flashlight in hand, peering into the Jeep, taking photos of the dashboard, trying the doors. Worse, she was with the security guards, pointing, instructing, directing surveillance of classified equipment. That's not harassment. That's espionage. I sent the files to my supervisor, Captain Sarah Chen. She didn't yell. She smiled. Let's see how much rope she gives herself. Then came 6:47 a.m. Maya's call woke me in a desert tent. Her voice, pure panic. "She's cutting the chain, Tank. She's got bolt cutters. She's stealing your Jeep right now." I watched live on her phone camera. Bethany, in a pink bathrobe, hacking at the chain with bolt cutters. Hired a tow truck cache. No paperwork. Driver saw the federal decals and backed away. "I ain't touching that." Bethany screamed, "It's abandoned property. I have legal authority." Recorded on 3 cameras. When the driver fled, she did something worse. She changed the locks on the community gate, blocked access, held federal property hostage. And she said to Maya, if he wants it back, he follows HOA procedures. That's when I hit emergency protocol. Within minutes, Homeland Security was alerted. Federal marshals dispatched. The Jeep's kill switch activated. GPS pinged across 3 states. This wasn't theft. This was a national security event. By 10 a.m., the neighborhood had changed. Mrs. Patterson, 82, widow of a WWIE vet, mother of 2 Marines, called every veteran on the street. Tom Henderson, Vietnam vet, stood in front of the Jeep with an American flag. Others joined. 30 people. A human shield. When federal marshals arrived and found the gate locked, Deputy Marshal Jennifer Torres stepped forward. "Ma'am, you are obstructing federal agents. Open this gate. Now." Bethany, "This is private property. You have no jurisdiction." Torres, "You just stole a federal law enforcement vehicle. You're under arrest." No drama. No monologue. Just consequences. I came home 72 hours later. The house smelled different. Not of tortillas or vanilla. Of stress. Of fear. Of betrayal. Maya met me at the door. She wasn't scared anymore. She was awake. She handed me a folder. HOA records. Bank statements. Emails between Carl and Eastbrook. A contract. Willowbrook acquisition phase 2. Our house was on the list. So were the Hendersons, the Martinezes, the Kowalskis, and then the worst, violation notices sent to Grandma in hospice, each one timed to arrive on payday, each one driving her blood pressure up. Maya, "Tank, I think they killed her. Not with a gun, but with paperwork, with stress, with cruelty." I sat at Grandma's table, where she taught me to say grace, to stand up for what's right, and I realized this wasn't about me or my Jeep. It was about her and every family they tried to erase. The case didn't go viral. It went quiet and deep. Federal prosecutors applied RICO statutes. Yes, the same law used against the mafia. Why? Because Bethany and Carl ran a pattern of criminal enterprise. Fraud. Embezzlement 184-0 in HOA funds. False filings. Civil rights violations. Elder abuse. Obstruction of justice. Interstate commerce. Carl's development deals crossed state lines. Mail fraud. HOA notices sent via postal service. RICO applied. Bethany got 8 years. Carl, 12. ExecSafe Security investigated for espionage. The development deal canceled. Maya ran for HOA president. Won by acclamation. First act. Dissolve the old bylaws. Second. Restore Grandma's house to its original covenant, military and emergency vehicles protected. Always. Still serve. But now, when I come home, the Jeep sits in the driveway. Chain gone. but the mark remains. And every morning, I walk past the tool shed, where Maya's infrared camera caught Bethany burning records in the dark. Ash still in the dirt. Evidence. History. I don't hate her. I pity her. Because she thought power came from rules, from fear, from control. But Grandma taught me power comes from people, from standing together, from remembering who you are. And in Willowbrook, we remember. Final words from Marcus. If you're serving overseas and some HOA thinks they can touch your home, let them try. Because they won't know what's coming. Not a soldier, not a federal agent, but a family and a neighborhood and a legacy that doesn't break.